why people drift away as we age, and how to reconnect. Have you ever noticed that, as the years go by, certain people seem to drift away? Friends stop calling, family visits less often, and social invitations begin to fade. It can feel isolating, even painful, to wonder where everyone has gone. But the truth is, this distance often isn't about others forgetting us. It's about quiet shifts in our behaviors, attitudes, or routines that unintentionally create space between us and those we care about. The good news? Many of these changes are within our control. In this video, we'll explore 7 common reasons why people may start pulling away in later life. These aren't random or inevitable. They're patterns we can become aware of and gently change. Most importantly, we'll talk about what you can do to reconnect. Small but meaningful ways to nurture relationships, invite closeness, and rebuild bonds. So if you've ever felt like people are slipping out of your life, stay with me. This may not only change how you see the situation, it may open a new door to connection, peace, and belonging. Let's begin together. Number 1. Forgetting to nurture the relationship with yourself. As we age, it's easy to focus outward, on the friends who no longer call, the family members who seem distant, the shifting world around us. But one of the quietest reasons people begin to drift away is when we have drifted away from ourselves. You see, the most enduring relationships are rooted in authenticity. When you know yourself, care for yourself, and continue to honor who you are becoming, people are naturally drawn to that presence. But when we stop tending to our inner world, when we speak to ourselves harshly, neglect our well-being, or believe our best days are behind us, we begin to shrink from life itself. And others feel that. They may not be able to name it, but they sense it, the energy of someone who has stopped showing up fully. Not just for others, but for their own heart, their own soul. Think about how you speak to yourself these days. Are your inner thoughts gentle? Do you encourage yourself with the same kindness you offer others? Or have you fallen into the habit of self-criticism, regret, or resignation? Many people assume that self-love is only for the young. But in truth, the relationship you have with yourself becomes even more important as you age. Because here's the beautiful irony. When you start treating yourself with care, others often follow. When you light the flame within, you naturally attract warmth from the outside. When you live with self-respect, curiosity, and compassion, people notice. And they want to be near it. Imagine 2 older women. One wakes up and puts on whatever's comfortable. She says, "What's the point?" She avoids mirrors, avoids reflection, emotionally and physically. The other takes a little time each day for herself. She might light a candle, write a few thoughts in a journal, brush her hair with intention, or go for a quiet walk while listening to music that stirs her soul. Which one do you think others gravitate toward? Which one is more likely to feel alive, connected, and loved? So if you've been wondering why connection feels harder lately, take a look inward. Are you still connected to yourself? Do you nourish your spirit? Do you give yourself the tenderness you so readily give to others? Because when you become your own friend again, your own supporter, your own source of joy, the rest of your relationships often begin to bloom effortlessly. Number 2. When we resist change, we risk disconnection. There's a quiet truth we don't often say out loud. The world has changed, and it's still changing. And one of the deepest reasons people begin to drift away from us in our later years is when we stop trying to change with it. Not because we can't, but because we won't. It's easy to fall into the rhythm of how things used to be. We remember the world we knew, the one we built families in, found love in, made mistakes in. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nostalgia can be a beautiful, comforting thing. But when that nostalgia turns into resistance, when we start rejecting new ideas, criticizing how others live, or refusing to learn the tools that help people stay connected today, we begin to build walls instead of bridges. Think for a moment about how different life is compared to 20 or 30 years ago. The way we communicate, the roles we play, the speed of information, even the meaning of friendship and family. Texting, video calls, social media. They aren't just trends, they've become the language of modern connection. And when we refuse to speak even a few words of that new language, people, especially the younger ones, start to feel like we're not really reachable. But this isn't just about technology. It's about mindset. When we consistently dismiss new perspectives with phrases like, back in my day, or kids today just don't get it, it sends an unspoken message, I'm not interested in your world. And when people, especially those we love, feel unheard or misunderstood, they stop trying to share. The conversation dries up. The relationship quietly cools. Imagine two older grandfathers with their grandchildren. One rolls his eyes at video games, complains about screens, and insists that life was better before. The other listens. He asks questions. Maybe he doesn't understand everything, but he tries. He smiles when he hears unfamiliar music, laughs at a meme he barely gets, and says, "Tell me more." Which one do you think those kids want to be around? You don't need to agree with every new idea or dive headfirst into every trend. But staying curious, that's the key. Asking instead of judging. Listening instead of dismissing. That's what keeps us close to the people we love, no matter how fast the world changes. Because the truth is, change doesn't have to leave us behind. It can invite us forward, gently if we let it. And when we meet the world with openness instead of fear, we send a powerful message to everyone in our lives. I may be older, but I'm still here with you. If this part spoke to you, let me know in the comments by typing number 2. I'd love to know you're here, walking alongside us in this journey of growth. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and tap the bell, so that each week, you'll receive a gentle reminder that it's never too late to adapt, to grow, and to stay connected in this ever-changing world. We're in this together, let's keep moving forward, one open-hearted step at a time. Number 3. The weight of negativity, and how to lighten the load. Let's speak honestly and gently. One of the quickest ways we can unintentionally push people away, especially in our later years, is by falling into patterns of constant negativity. It happens quietly. A few complaints here and there, about the aching back, the state of the world, or how things used to be simpler, kinder, better. And before we know it, it becomes the main theme of our conversations. But here's the truth. No matter how valid those thoughts may feel, when we express them often, without balance, they begin to feel heavy to those around us. And while we may see it as simply telling it like it is, others may experience it as draining. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever left a conversation with someone and felt emotionally exhausted afterward? Maybe it was a friend who only shares bad news, or a relative who always finds something wrong with everything. The meal, the weather, the family, the world. Over time, you stop feeling uplifted in their company. You start making excuses, waiting longer to call back, or quietly drifting away. Now here's something important. Expressing your struggles is not the problem. We all face hardships, and sharing honestly is part of what builds real connection. But the key word here is balance. When most of your energy, and your words, are focused on what's wrong, even the people who love you most may begin to pull away. Not out of rejection, but self-preservation. Because they too are carrying burdens of their own. On the other hand, people are naturally drawn to those who help them feel lighter. You don't have to be endlessly cheerful or fake optimism. But cultivating a mindset of gratitude, curiosity, and even simple humor makes a world of difference. Imagine again two older men at a family gathering. One of them complains about his pain, the traffic, how kids these days don't respect anyone, and how nothing is the way it used to be. The other one smiles as he recalls a funny moment from years ago, asks his niece about her new job, compliments the food, and chuckles about how long it took him to figure out group texting. Now pause and ask yourself, who would you want to sit beside? The answer is clear. We all crave warmth. We're all drawn to those who make space for joy, even in life's imperfect moments. So if you've noticed people reaching out less, don't be too hard on yourself. Just take a quiet moment and ask, what energy am I bringing into the room? Am I offering hope, interest, compassion? Or have I, without realizing, begun to dwell in complaints? The good news? Even the smallest shift can open doors again. Start by noticing one thing you're grateful for each day. Share something that made you smile. Ask someone how they are doing, and really listen. When your presence uplifts others, they will always want more of it. Because at the end of the day, energy is contagious. And when you shine your light, no matter your age, people will gather around it, like moths to a flame. Number 4. When we stop growing, we start drifting. One of the quiet reasons people begin to step back from us as we age is this: we stop growing. Not physically, but in the ways that truly keep our spirit alive, emotionally, mentally, socially. You see, there's something deeply magnetic about a person who continues to evolve. Someone who stays curious, who listens with fresh ears, who's still willing to learn something new, even if it's just a small thing each day. That kind of presence feels alive. It draws people in no matter how many candles are on the birthday cake. But when we turn away from growth, when we start saying, "That's not for me," or "I just don't understand the world anymore," something begins to close off inside us. Conversations become a loop of the same old stories. Encounters start to feel predictable. And slowly, gently, the world may begin to pass us by. It doesn't happen overnight. People don't storm out of our lives. They just start reaching out less. The calls come fewer and farther between. And suddenly we find ourselves wondering what changed. But often it's not them. It's something in us that stopped reaching. Let me offer a picture. Imagine two older gentlemen. One of them reads the newspaper every morning, but also browses articles online to learn what younger generations care about. He's asking his granddaughter how TikTok works, watching documentaries, maybe even giving audiobooks a try. He's not pretending to be 30 again, he's just open, awake, interested. The other man, though, he scoffs at change, dismisses technology, tells the same jokes he's told for 20 years and complains that things were better back then. There's a heaviness to his presence, a resistance that quietly tells others, "I'm not really listening anymore." Now ask yourself, which of these men would you rather sit beside at a dinner table? Which one gets invited again next time? Personal growth doesn't mean climbing a mountain or going back to school. It means staying mentally active, asking questions, being willing to say, "Tell me more, I'd like to understand." That kind of openness is not only attractive, it's life-giving. Because people, young and old, are drawn to those who are still moving forward, who are still becoming. If you've found yourself slipping into patterns that feel stale, don't be ashamed. You're not alone. We all settle into comfort sometimes. But know this, it's never too late to grow again. Whether it's learning a new card game, attending a local lecture, or simply listening, really listening, to someone who sees the world differently than you. Growth keeps you connected. It keeps you relevant. And most importantly, it keeps your soul awake. The world hasn't left you behind. It just needs to see that you're still walking alongside it. If this message speaks to you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a number 4 in the comments if this part resonated, or share a moment when you noticed this pattern, in yourself or someone you care about. Your reflections might just help someone else feel less alone. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way you won't miss any future conversations designed to uplift, support, and walk beside you on this beautiful journey of life. Your presence here means so much. Thank you for being part of this space. Let's keep growing, together. Number 5. When we stop reaching out, people start slipping away. Relationships, much like gardens, need tending. Left alone too long, even the deepest bonds can begin to wither. It's one of the quiet truths of growing older, not painful all at once but felt deeply over time. One of the most common reasons people drift apart in later life is this: we forget to nurture the connections we once held so close. It's not out of malice. Sometimes we assume that those who care will always be there. That friendships, family ties, and old loyalties are self-sustaining. But they're not. When we fall into the habit of waiting for others to call first, to send the invitation, to ask how we are, we unknowingly send a message: "You matter, but not quite enough for me to go first." Now pause for a moment. Think about the people in your life. When was the last time you made the call? Sent the text? Asked someone about their day without waiting for them to bring it up? Those tiny gestures, often overlooked, are the threads that keep relationships strong. Because here's the truth: over time, even the kindest people grow tired of always being the one to reach out. When every effort comes from one side, it starts to feel like the relationship only exists out of duty, not mutual care. But this isn't about grand acts or dramatic apologies. The most powerful messages of love come in the smallest packages. A note that says, "I thought of you today." A call that starts with, I just wanted to hear your voice. An invitation that says, let's grab coffee, no reason, just because. These are the ways we say, you still matter to me. And those simple efforts can make someone's entire day. Imagine again two older men. One of them makes it a point to check in. A message here, a warm question there. He remembers his nephew's new job, asks his neighbor how her surgery went, sends a birthday card, even if it's just an emoji-filled text. The other waits. He figures if people care, they'll come to him. He doesn't mean to be distant, but his silence speaks volumes. Now ask yourself, who will others want to stay close to? We all want to feel seen. Not just in moments of crisis or obligation, but in the quiet, everyday spaces of life. And here's the most hopeful part. It's never too late to begin again. If you've drifted, take the first step back. You don't need to explain, just reach out. A kind word, a simple, "How have you been?" can open a door you thought was closed. The key isn't constant contact, it's intentional connection. When people know you're thinking of them, when they feel remembered, they'll want to be part of your life. Because relationships don't die from arguments. Most of them fade from silence. Don't let that happen to the people you care about. A little effort goes a long way. Number 6. When dependence becomes a burden instead of a bond. One of the most sacred parts of growing older is the opportunity to lean on those we love, to be supported, cared for, and accompanied through the changes that life inevitably brings. But even something beautiful can become heavy when it's out of balance. You see, relationships are healthiest when they're reciprocal, when there's a gentle give and take. When we offer as much as we receive, not always in the same way but with the same spirit. But over time, if we begin to rely too much, emotionally, physically, or financially, without recognizing or appreciating the load others are carrying, we risk turning connection into obligation. And people, even those closest to us, can start to pull away. Not because they don't care, but because they're tired. Think about it. Do you find yourself asking for help more often than offering it? Are you depending on loved ones for things you once handled yourself, perhaps without always realizing it? Might be small things. Asking for too many favors. Expecting family to take care of tasks without acknowledgement. Leaning emotionally on others, yet rarely asking how they're doing. It doesn't make you a burden, but it can begin to feel that way to others if they're always giving and rarely receiving in return. And here's the important truth. People don't just want to feel needed, they want to feel valued. It's not about pretending to be independent when you're not. It's about doing what you can, showing appreciation for what you can't, and contributing in your own unique way, even if it's as simple as a kind word, a warm presence, or a shared memory. Let me offer a gentle image. Two older gentlemen. One frequently asks his children for help, never says thank you, and rarely shows interest in their lives. The help he receives begins to feel expected, not appreciated. The other also needs support, but he acknowledges it. He thanks his daughter for the ride. He writes a kind note to his grandson. He offers wisdom, comfort, even humor. He gives what he can, and it matters. Who do you think people continue to show up for? We all want to help those we love. But when that help feels one-sided, the heart grows weary. So if you've noticed certain people stepping back, ask gently, am I showing appreciation? Am I giving in some way, even small? Am I making an effort to handle what I still can? Even the smallest acts of self-sufficiency, the quietest words of gratitude, and the most humble offers of support can rebuild bridges and remind people why they want you in their lives. Because in the end, it's not about being perfectly independent. It's about being present, being thoughtful, and being grateful. That's what keeps relationships alive. If this message touched your heart today, let me know by commenting number 6. Or share a moment when someone's appreciation made all the difference in how you felt. And as always, if you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe and tap the bell so you can receive these gentle reflections every week. A soft reminder that even as we grow older, we can grow better. Let's keep choosing gratitude, connection, and kindness together. Number 7. When we hold on to resentment, we push love away. Over the course of a lifetime, we all gather a few wounds. Words that cut deeper than they should have. Moments of betrayal. Times we felt misunderstood, dismissed, or deeply hurt. These experiences are part of being human, and feeling them is natural. But what we choose to do with that pain, that choice shapes the rest of our lives. As we grow older, many of us carry silent burdens. Disappointments we never voiced, grudges that have lingered for years, memories of moments we wish had turned out differently. And over time, if we don't let them go, those hurts don't just weigh us down, they weigh down our relationships too. The truth is, few things will drive people away faster than resentment that refuses to soften. No one wants to walk on eggshells. No one wants to be reminded over and over of mistakes they've already apologized for, or perhaps never even knew they made. Think gently about your own relationships. Is there someone you've distanced yourself from because of a hurt you've never healed? Do you still replay old arguments in your mind? Do you catch yourself saying, "I'll never forget what they did," even when part of you wishes you could? Here's what we don't often realize. Holding on to resentment doesn't protect us. It isolates us. It creates a wall that not only keeps others out but keeps us locked inside. And while we wait for the other person to make it right, we miss out on connection, joy, and peace that could be ours now. Imagine two older men surrounded by their families. One carries a lightness in his heart. He's made peace with the past. He knows that every moment with his loved ones is more valuable than any old argument. When conflict arises, he chooses grace. The other man still brings up wounds from decades ago. He can't seem to let go, and people around him feel that every time he speaks, there's tension in the air. Now ask yourself, which man do you think others feel safe around? Which one do they want to come back to? Forgiveness is not about saying, "It didn't hurt." It's about saying, "I won't let this pain define me or my relationships anymore." It doesn't mean you have to pretend everything's fine, or welcome back harmful behavior. It simply means releasing the burden so your heart can breathe again. So others can feel welcome in your presence. So you can begin anew. If you've been carrying resentment, ask yourself gently, is this serving me, or separating me from the people I love? Letting go doesn't erase the past. It opens the door to a more peaceful present. Final thoughts. A gentle invitation to begin again. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to invite you to pause, just for a moment, and gently reflect on these 7 reasons we've explored. Do any of them sound familiar? Did one or two stir something in your heart? If so, please don't take that as criticism. Take it as an opportunity, a soft nudge from life saying, it's not too late. Because here's the truth, loneliness in later life is not a certainty. And the distance we sometimes feel from others isn't always permanent. Many of the patterns that quietly push people away, like negativity, disconnection, or holding on to the past, can be softened, shifted, and healed. Even small changes matter. A kind word, a phone call, a moment of forgiveness, choosing to be curious instead of critical, smiling a little more, even when no one is watching. And when you begin to make those gentle shifts, you may find something beautiful happens. People start returning, or maybe new ones begin arriving. Because you're no longer just waiting to be invited in, you're inviting life back in too. Attractiveness isn't about age. And connection isn't about how long you've known someone. It's about the energy you bring into a room, the way you make others feel, the effort you make to show that they matter. And the most wonderful part? None of those things fade with time. In fact, with age they can grow even stronger, when you choose to keep your heart open. So instead of asking, why have people left? Try asking, how can I welcome them back? Instead of wondering what went wrong, ask, what can I do to nurture something right starting today? Because even now, especially now, you have the power to shape how connected your life can be. I'd love to hear from you. Which of the 7 reasons resonated most with you today? Type your thoughts in the comments. I read every one, and your words encourage me just as much as I hope mine encourage you. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Your support helps us keep creating these moments of reflection, comfort, and connection for others who might need them too. Thank you for being here, and for choosing to grow, to connect, and to keep your light shining. Until next time, take care of yourself, and take care of your relationships. They are the truest treasures we carry with us, every step of the way.